Okay, well, Krogan, how are things?
They're all right. How's everything going on your end? Anything new since yesterday?
New since yesterday? No, I don't think so. I see Dusty's in the chat on DLive. Anime is in the chat on Provo. How's it going? So do you have any assignments right now, by the way?
Let me check.
So I believe
the only thing I have, okay, so there are two that I need prerequisites for. I need to get Gunner up to level 25.
yeah, it doesn't matter about the prerequisites. Any available.
Right, that's what I was getting at. The only thing I have available is a weekly assignment.
Okay, pick it up. So I believe last week we got it. So the way it works in this game, let's grab mission here. You can go hazard 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can unlock hazard 5. Now I've had hazard 5 unlocked. I believe Krogan had hazard 5 unlocked with us right at the end last week. So I'm going to see if I can get Krogan to play some hazard 5. So are you ready for that, Krogan?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll do hazard 5, Glacial Strata, a Quark mission.
Selected. Powering up the drop pod.
We're definitely doing the
Down
beer
board
for
team.
this one. This is Backbreaker Stout. So this one we got to run around and grab the crystals. We got to get 7 of them.
Bartender,
And this beer
around
will
the
help us
Backbreakers,
carry
please.
the crystals faster. We'll be able to walk faster while holding them.
To those we lost.
Because normally you walk like super slow. Emu, how's it going? And Based Gandalf, how are you?
East Gandalf.
Based Gandalf.
Oh yeah.
I
very much
think
better
I'll
now.
just stick with all this. We're going to the Glacial Strata, which is sort of resistant to cold, but I'm going to bring my cryo cannon
You
anyway.
cannot bring barrels with you on missions, but I applaud your efforts.
Could you please hurry up? We're
Drop
leaving.
sequence initiating. Fasten your seatbelts.
Rock and stone in the heart.
Barrels are to be left alone and not hurled.
All right. So a lot of the times in Hazard 5, right when you get out of the dropship, there tends to be a lot of crap. So we might have to deal with a lot of bugs in the very first seconds. And sometimes it can be pretty sketchy, especially if you have a lot of, like, those breeders and, like the Hive Nexus with all the swarmers and the spitters, that kind of stuff.
Multiplayer session ended.
Oh, well, rejoin when you can.
Yeah, last session ended abruptly. Attempt to reconnect. Yes.
Let's get the job done!
Okay, it's putting me back into the loading
A scanner has
screen.
picked up a massive deposit
Yeah.
of
It is
quark.
your game.
Yeah,
You
you'll be
can
here in a minute.
stand a heavily armed lifter to get as many out as possible. We're picking up extreme
Don't
fire
leave the
signs in area,
dropship.
so keep it snappy.
No, I already left.
Quarks can be extracted from
Oh,
the
you did?
walls.
Yeah.
Search for a
You'll be
bruised
coming down in
shard.
your
well,
own
you
thing.
Get it done, team.
Oh, okay.
Reinforcement is on the way.
Looking forward to
All right, the
working
mine
hook
head
me
is
up
up
on
the
top of
hill,
the,
so you might want to put a zip line for us to get up there. I'm grabbing some quarks out of the wall here.
Okay, tell me where you want it, because I'm kind of disoriented. I did not come out the same way that you did.
Well, I only just got here too, but if you hold left control, you can see the mine head icon. Just get close enough so you can get us up that cliff
Very charmed.
from, because we're kind of down in this pit. We need to get up. We'll need to bring a quarks up to the mine head from this pit, and zip lines are one of the better ways to do it. Sometimes I think I should. Uh-oh, I fell. Sometimes I think I should play Scout on stream just because at least you can light up the whole cavern. I don't know what you guys think,
Yeah.
like Emu and crew, Anime, Dusty. I feel like, when I watch people play this game, it's kind of hard to watch it when it's like super dark. Like they're in the middle of a super dark cavern. It's more
Can you
confusing
drill
for the
through
watcher.
this wall here?
Which drill through?
So I can get closer to get an angle on there. I mean, in fact, whoa. It's teleporting through you and attacking me.
Show them some pain.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Feel much better. Ow! Bring the pain.
Honestly, I think you could just drill through all the way over to there.
yeah, but we're gonna be throwing. Well, I mean, you do what you think you should do.
I think I should wait for you to drill over to there.
Don't wait for me. You and me need to be grabbing crystals. We're not trying to get to the mine head right now. Just get nitrine crystals out of the wall. Base Gandalf says, nice to watch a Deep Rock live stream. I only watched the videos by others. Okay, yeah. So I did release a really quick sort of guide video for Deep Rock Galactic on my YouTube gaming channel. And I'll make another one for tomorrow. Just a shortish one. You know, something, you know, low effort-ish. My first video was about choosing difficulties, right? Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then my next one will be about sort of like advice for people struggling to get started on Has 4 and Has 5.
Explosives flying.
Yeah, I think
Smoking machine
it's-
on him.
Okay, we got a swarm incoming. I think it's always been interesting to see how many low effort videos like outperform high effort videos. Like a lot of people just probably are under somewhat of a false impression that, you know, high effort videos always translate into I'm gonna go down. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It seems like I have to put down a shield in this when they're after me. Like, I can't kill them fast enough to not go down.
Yeah, that's it's actually one of the thing I'll be talking about in my video for tomorrow. Is about the strategies for dealing with these big swarms and these higher difficulties. Because I don't feel like it's entirely intuitive, especially if you get used to playing other games. Oh, 2 of these oppressors. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh. Can you shield and pick me up? Commander wants to know if I've played Valheim. I haven't played Valheim. Commander also mentions how low-effort content like top 10 compilations.
We're done.
No, we're not done. We'll get up there. Let me grab that. Maybe? Oh, come on. And over to here. Yeah, top 10 compilations are, you know, I think some can be higher effort, but a lot of them are not, like, super high effort. But, you know, it's the kind of stuff people like. Oh, did I not get... Well, that sucks. Almost. Ooh, so close.
Explosive. That's it.
Ooh,
Boys.
I'm out of fuel already? That's a bummer.
Yeah, I want to say that this is not, like, I feel disadvantaged as being a gunner. With just 2 people.
I mean, I think you just got to get used to playing on the higher difficulties, honestly. I mean, most of my solo elite deep dives I've done on gunner. it's just a pretty strong class. All right. I think we've got, like, most of the Quarks. We just need to get them up the hill. We've got, like, 4 or 5. Make sure you've got a full load of Nitra. I'm full on Nitra. So if we both go up there full on Nitra, we'll be able to, you know, call a resupply.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even try to engage them. I just tried to run away, and I went down. So, I mean, maybe it's the internet connection.
Yeah, I mean, we could try it with you hosting.
Thank you, brother.
Grab this.
Here I come.
We'll ignore the fossils. All right. So, like, yeah, this is an interesting map. It looks like it's got, like, sort of 3 platforms. This lower pit that I'm coming out of, the platform you're on, and then up the mine head. And it'll be a lot easier to defend yourself at the mine head, obviously. Oh, shit. Giant hole in the floor. Did you get some Nitra?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm full on Nitra.
Sweet. I'm coming, and I'll give us enough to get a resupply.
Swarm, it's a big one, team.
You want me to drop the resupply up
Yeah,
here?
once I put anywhere you want. Once I put the Nitra in, I'm about to put it in right
Shit,
now.
Yeah, you don't have it.
Okay, it's in. Do the resupply.
Supplies are on the way.
All right.
Resupply arrived.
Drop the shield on the resupply.
All right.
Getting more ammo.
Grab resupply if you need it, because this is the time where we're safe.
I'm taking some of the ammo.
I didn't have enough time to get it. I'm gonna try again now.
Don't bother shooting it in the face. It won't do any damage, but until it's frozen like this. There we go. Yeah, I gotta get off the grates. Okay, it's starting to die down a little. I'm gonna run grab a Quarks. Oh, God. Look at this hole.
Here we go.
I think the, you know, what's interesting about this game is the flares, you know? You know, in a lot of games where it's dark, you really use your flashlight a lot. In this game, the flashlight is, like, there and somewhat helpful, but not, like, really. Not compared to the flares. Are you at the mine head, by the way?
Yeah, and I'm down.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to... I'm coming up within a Quark, and I just wanted to know where you were at.
I mean, even with like a full shield and full health, like 3-4 hits, I'm down. And it's weird because even if I try to run away, like it seems like they move fast enough that I can't run away.
Well, for the most part, we should be faster than them most of the time, but
Right.
they are faster on the
I'm
higher
kinda
difficulties.
surprised. Yeah, I mean, I can't run away from them most of the time. I mean, that's what I was saying. I usually have to throw down a shield in order to do anything.
Schmerling, send me a friend request on Steam. Then you'll be able to join.
Well, I think we're actually doing all right so far.
There's one coming up. Okay, the turret's got it, but there's another one, and... All right.
See you later, Commander. Good to see you. Base Gandalf says there used to be a placeable spotlight in this game. Really? I didn't know that.
Explosives.
That was really stupid. I can't believe I did that. I'm down? Oh, there you go. Is that a bitter gem?
Here, get into cover.
What is that? Oh, it is a bitter gem. It's not even in a quark.
Suck on this, you freaking nature. Booyah! Loot bug eliminated. Out of ammo.
What did I die to just there? Well, we're appears to be we're done with that one.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I
suspect
died to
that
there?
the cave-in. A bunch of rocks fell down on top
Oh.
of you.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
I don't know exactly what the situation is, but I feel like there's a significant difficulty jump with another person. And I don't know if that like pairs if that is in parity with like the difficulty at one player. And if the second player has any kind of lag or internet difficulties going on, I mean, it might be like
Let's do better next time.
serious disadvantage. I don't know.
Okay, so do you want to host it?
Sure.
Let's see here.
So you should just be able to join my game. I don't think I have to send you an invite.
Okay.
Are there any perks? Maybe I
I have
a shitty-
invite, but I don't.
All
If
right,
you
well,
just
I'll
press
invite
C,
you.
you'll be able to invite me.
I mean, I was able to join your game without anything. I mean, I still can now.
Yeah, I don't see where to do it, but I'm
Right.
already joining yours now.
Anyway, I was gonna say maybe I have crappy perks.
Obstacle.
What perks are you
Working
using right now?
granite smoothie want some.
I think I'm using friendly fire reduction and berserker, and so I need to switch those. I think.
Berserker is fine if you're also using Vampire. Vampire is a passive perk.
Well, what I'm thinking is I need something that's gonna reduce incoming damage or something equivalent or roughly approximating that.
I would look at maybe Resupplier, so you can pull resupplies super quick. Vampire is great with Berserker. I like Heightened Senses. Beastmaster is pretty good. And Base Gandalf, he likes the bug perk. That's the Beastmaster. Because it pulls some of the aggro from swarms.
All right, so how do I can't do vampire and the berserker at the same time, right?
You can.
Or can I?
Yeah, Vampire is a passive. It's in the top 3. And Berserker is an active. It's in the lower 2.
Heightened senses. I actually don't see it for whatever reason.
Maybe you haven't purchased the perk yet.
Well, no, I mean I'm at the purchasing table and I don't see it.
Oh, when I was describing top 3 and lower 2, that was
Yeah.
me describing the
Danger.
quick window. So you might just not. Let me look.
So all of the blue are passive.
Oh, I need it.
The blue are the active. I don't know what color these are. The light one is the active.
No, it depends.
The red
the
one
blue
is-
and the red. Yeah, it
So-
could be either or.
Um,
I see some blue that are active and some that are passive.
they all have an active element if they're
Okay.
blue, and they go in the active slots. They may also have a passive element to them. But the red ones, those are your passive only, and they go in the passive
Alright.
slots. So how far are you into the perk thing now? Like which, I don't know, group? 4th group?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th
Okay.
tier.
Yeah, in this tier and below, Vampire, Berserker, Resupplier. Those are all good. Thorns is pretty good. Heightened Senses. Field Medic. So Alander wants to know if I'm going to be attending tomorrow's Patriotic Alternative Gaming Tournament. The one where they play Call of Duty, I believe. I won't be. Krogan, are you gonna?
Yes.
Okay, so Krogan will be playing. And you'll be streaming it? Or...
Yeah, I think I might stream it just from Odyssey though.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, the game is, like, super big. And I'm limited on, like, storage space. So, it's not exactly my kind of game either. Are you still playing with Chris and Clyde?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think they might show up.
Okay, well, feel free to tune in to Krogan's stream tomorrow, if he's doing it. But,
Drop pod is ready. Time to leave.
okay. Did you get the beer?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah. That one, I believe, is 30% more health. That beer, that's a good one.
On a roll. Yeah. Yeah. That's cute. You guys waiting for me?
Oh,
Okay. Who didn't
someone else is
shower
joining.
yesterday?
We have this open to the
Drop
public.
sequence initiating.
Oh, he left.
Yeah, I mean, did you not want it open to the public?
I mean, it's up to you. I generally don't.
I figure it's a good idea to get other people in.
I know some things get a little bit harder when you got more people, and the question is...
They suck.
Well, sometimes, it happens quite a bit as you're playing Hazhor and Haz5. There will be newbies who will search a game, and they'll see one game on one map, and they'll be like, oh, I need that map.
Only danger
And they don't
comes.
even necessarily know right away that there are different hazard difficulties, and they're about to join a hard one. So sometimes you end up with some very new players just sort of jumping in and being like, hey,
The
guys.
dice. Hit the dice on the way out. Oh, you didn't hit the dice. Now
Yeah.
we're all gonna die.
You and
Oh,
your
well.
folks and a heavily armed lifter to get as many out as possible. We're picking up extreme biosigns in the area, so keep it snappy. Quarks can be extracted from the walls. Search for a blue shimmering light. Get it done, team. A miner is on the way to join you.
Oof. I think I hear a spitter.
You do.
Oh.
Goddamn overheated. Big red sugar. Bloody hell, you're hot to kill.
All right. Now, I find a Quarks. Fast. Look, there's a couple here, maybe? Maybe it's just one. Maybe just drill it.
I ran and jumped, and it didn't register my jump, and I fell to my death. So, something's going on. It doesn't seem to be my internet connection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're hosting it now, so. Alondra says he just watched his first Odyssey stream, and he didn't have any problems. But he says, I like them to work on chat options, though. I
Yeah.
hope streamers are able to suggest improvements, but it was a good premiere. Yeah, I mean, you know, for a technology that they're coming out to the public with for the very first time, you know, I'd say it
Functionally,
works
it
well.
works, and that's the important thing. That's really the important thing. Like, functionally, it works. Like, there are a lot of little quirks and things. One thing regarding the chat that I would like to see is like, as it stands now, the chat notification system basically works the same as the comment option on a video. So every time somebody makes a comment in your chat, you get a bell notification as if it were a comment on one of your videos, and that's like just kind of annoying.
Yeah, because you're expecting, oh my goodness,
Focus on the Crassus
it's a Crassus detonator.
It's overheated.
All right, well, this will be fun.
I'll throw down a shield if you want to get him up.
Okay. I mean, probably wasn't needed. There's nothing happening.
Well, okay, well, whatever, sue me. I suck at this game. I mean, at this level of difficulty, it seems like it's just better to be safe than sorry because, if I decide not to throw down a shield, I get swarmed immediately. If I do throw down one, it's useless. It's like I can't win.
Well, you just got to get used to it. I mean, so this is Krogan's first time ever playing Hazard 5. It's like when you play a very fast game like Serious Sam or something. It's like everything moves at like 5 times the movement speed of any game you've ever normally played. And then you get used to it after a little bit. Okay, I am gonna get on the zip line.
Long suckers.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe my internet here is crap. Because I'm getting some weird issues.
Well, I mean, you're hosting the game, and
I
it's
know
all
I'm
local.
hosting the game, but I don't know exactly how it works, and I don't know what to tell you because I'm definitely getting lag.
Uh-oh. Blue bombers. Does our engineer have turrets up somewhere?
Explosives.
All right. Now, how was our detonator situation? It's about to die.
Airwalks overheating.
Uh-oh. There it goes. All right. Well, let's get
Much better.
stuff here. Quick.
Explosives, bikes.
I think one of our dudes wants a zip line somewhere.
Explosives, bikes. And sugar.
Okay. Oh, we got enough nitra too. I'll call a resupply up here.
Order to resupply.
Hang in there. Supplies are on the way.
Put my own nitra in. Can almost afford another one.
Resupply arrived. Go
Alander
on,
says
step.
he'll definitely be watching you on Odyssey tomorrow if you stream for the tournament. Alander says alt tech should be promoted as much as possible. BitChute unfortunately hasn't delivered.
Yeah, it hasn't, and I feel like, you know, I'm kind of torn on this. I usually like advocate like we all need to be on as many platforms as possible to like maintain our presence everywhere. But in the case of DLive in particular, I feel like everybody should strategically dump DLive in favor of Odyssey as soon as possible to inflict the maximum amount of damage we can against DLive. Because I feel like DLive has shown their hand and they deserve to be punished. And as time goes on, I think the amount of damage everybody can inflict on them is going to go down. Like
Right.
they're going to be increasingly popular, and so I feel like we have like a limited window to inflict damage on them. So,
Wonder what slot the seven
I mean, if you want to
left
keep
in.
using Trovo, I guess that's one thing. But DLive in particular, like I
Just
want to inflict damage on them.
Platforms placed.
Shit, I'm out of.
ordered.
Nitro's been withdrawn and
I
supply
wasn't
pod
paying
is
attention to my
inbound.
ammo count.
Well, we got a couple places
Explosives,
for resupply
bikes.
now. We'll be able to call down. I think we can call down another one now, but let's not do it right yet.
Time to restock.
Get out of here. Ooh.
Feel much better now.
Yeah, the bugs hit hard. Yeah, and Alander says he agrees with you 100% on everything you just said.
I'm
Alright.
wondering if fighting bugs and moving
We're almost full on the Quarks. Got 5. And they'll probably be bringing up another 1 or 2 in a moment. Oh, here's the 6th already up here. Just a matter of fossils now.
Down the hatch.
Now that we have a scout and engineer, fossils are much more possible.
If you don't rock and stone,
Where's the
you
nitro?
ain't coming
Oh.
home.
Okay.
Bakal! Things about to go through. Attack!
Swarm! I repeat, swarm!
Another day at the office.
Objective completed. Launch controls are active and awaiting your input. Let's bring it home, team.
I ordered a resupply.
Supply
I think we'll be able to get the fossils now.
All well. One down.
Shit! I don't know how it got me. How did it knock on me? Maybe there was a spitter? Yeah.
Uh-oh. Jellyfish.
Naughty. Yeah, give me some sugar. Feel ready. Think you can kill me? Well, think again.
All right, let's see. How far are we into this? 11 minutes. 11 minutes into this mission. So it's not starting this endless spawn of doom yet, but, you know, we'll get there. Wonder how we're doing on
Getting
fossils.
more ammo.
Slot says our axe is melee damage. Yeah, so on a lot of other classes, I'll do Vampire and Berserker. Just so they work together and they work really well, and then use the AoE on the axe power attack. But for this class, the axe, the drills, and well, the other axe, they're all count for Vampire. So I tend not to use Berserker on Driller, and I tend to use Berserker on everything else.
A dwarf never dies.
A lot of gold there.
Ready to blow.
Oop. Couple more guys.
The time is up, Crate.
I owe you one, brother.
I have 2 fossils.
Okay.
Flares up.
I wonder how many the scout has. Hopefully he's got a couple. Let's take a look at the map here. Oh, there's an area underneath of us. And recently I've been using the blood-cooled drills. I've really spec'd the drills for damage more than drilling. I feel like even if you spec them really for damage and not for drilling, you can still do a lot of drilling. Like, you don't necessarily need to have them spec for drilling.
Just
We need 1 more fossil.
Okay, I'm looking around. For anyone who doesn't know, most of the secondary objectives glow in the dark. So if I don't throw flares, even though it's like really dark and disorienting, fossils stick out a lot easier.
Nicely done, team.
Okay.
You secured yourself a nice bonus.
All right, punch it up there. I'm too far away to press the button, but there's no storm or anything, so this is a good time to press it.
Minehead returning. Escape can inbound. Expect heavy resistance until we can pick you up. Supply drop has been ordered and is on the way.
Nathan! Rocket! Stone! What I found!
Slot says,
My pod is here.
oh, mining by the slide arm.
Shield plate.
No, that's, you just have to be level 18 on Driller, and that's a regular upgrade.
Better equipped.
So it's not an overclock. It's just called thin containment field.
This is you! Let's blow them out! Ready to kill some more Crate. I needed that.
Our engineer is very upset that we're not gonna loot all the gold out of the detonator.
Hold your fire, you animal of Lord. Getting more ammo.
Say you like her.
All right. Well, this is your first successful Hazard 5 program.
This little fish looks like he just had his cherry popped.
What's that from?
Bioshock.
Oh. Yeah, I think I remember that. It was really early in the game, wasn't it?
Drop
Yeah.
pod inbound.
Yeah.
It's like when you meet one of the big daddies and little sisters for the first time.
Oh, wow. It's going to dock right at the beginning of the level, right where we started.
Get out the way.
Oh, all the jellyfish, dude. It's like one of my least favorite enemies.
Arrived, waiting for takeoff.
Ooh. There's a lot of stuff here, though.
Drop pod departing in T-minus 3 minutes.
Hurry up. Pumpkin boy. And kill.
Oh, my God.
I'm not one of them, you knobhead.
Slot says, what upgrade is it? It's the middle upgrade, last tier,
Shield up.
on APC.
Extraction commencing. Good work.
Rock and stone, everyone! Look at this guy with the afro.
Rock and
Jeez.
stone.
Yeah. Slot says, flamethrower is literally inferior to the cryo cannon. I don't know. Flamethrower, like, we were just in the glacial strata where everything is resistant to frost. I mean, that would be the best place to use a flamethrower. That being said, I tend to like the cryo cannon's playstyle a lot more than the flamethrower playstyle. But I think they're different to an extent, not just better or worse.
And stone.
Oh, looks like a regular mining one for the next one.
Drop pod is ready. Time to leave.
For everyone. Sharpish. To the fallen.
Oh, of course he left.
Yeah, they both left. They had different missions for their assignment.
Cheers.
Oh, I
boys.
would've done theirs.
I'm ready.
Why?
Because I'm a nice guy and I like to keep other people in the game.
Well, whatever.
I mean, dude, I'm not super invested in, like, the assignments or anything like that. Like, I don't care.
Oh, well, I mean, you're running out of credits, and it gives you credits.
Right. I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't play this that often. I'm just not super invested. I mean, again, I think it's a great game. It's just,
Uh-oh. That thing. You ready? Yeah, okay.
We're sending you in deep, so be on your guard. Scanners indicate particularly rich veins of more.
Oh, God, it's gonna get away.
Down.
Not yet.
Boys.
Oh, where the fuck?
yay!
Like, teleported. Then disappeared. For me.
Let's get the minerals. Oh man! Super open.
Oh, this is our secondary right here.
No flares ready.
Who?
You shouldn't need precious minerals. It will get you killed.
All right. Here.
Where is that? Ollie, over here! Loot bug looted!
Cavalry's
new
here.
guy.
New miner inbound.
cute, but you're dead.
Uh-oh. There we go.
Molly, come here.
Seems we disturbed a nest of Clifford grunts. Get ready.
Oh,
they're
this is a
heading
fun
your way.
one. All
Kind of
Glyphid
fiendish
grunts.
Technology makes Molly constantly get in the way.
Attention!
Access provided.
I
That's
feel
a
like we
long
want
one.
to be on high ground.
Yeah,
Grunts
if you
engaging.
have
Take him out. We got work to do.
high ground with a zip line to low ground is a very efficient way to create space. Also, you know, because they're all grunts for the most part, you can also just float in the air on the zip line, and generally they can't do anything to you. It's only when you have like Mactera and stuff does that
Your
become
workforce is about to get bigger.
pretty dangerous
Wolf
and
inbound.
less effective.
What is not?
Great to have you on board. What's new from the area?
Pause a little more kite.
And I punch myself. Fire in the hole!
Had some weird lag there.
Scanners show the wave is thinning out.
Not sure
Check
how
out
the
rest
stream
of them
is.
stat.
Don't have it pulled up. Sorry. I'll
It's
try
all
to remember
good.
to do that in a minute.
Someone in the chat will tell me if there's a problem.
Down the hatch!
All right, we're mostly done.
Resupply order.
Supplies are on the way.
Nitra!
Oh yeah, Nitro.
The resupply is here. Good bugs. Getting supply.
Nitra! Grabbing ammo!
I'm taking some of the ammo. I'm taking some of the ammo.
When you say it, kind of sounds like an orc from, you know, like Warcraft. You ever play that?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Everyone, can I get some attention?
I found some more kites.
All right, you two get the Morkites.
Your tin ass over here and hurry, please.
Things about to go boom.
Just what we bloody needed.
Any worse?
Just take your sweet
right.
time, old lady.
Wrench says, "Hey, yeah, how's it going, Wrench?" Wrench is on Twitch. Good to see ya.
Destroy the spawner!
I got Krogan on Hazard 5 here.
I'm your friend.
Whoops.
Let me keep it.
Get down there. Because last week we got Krogan to unlock Hazard 5, did the assignment. But now we're gonna.
The nitro.
Now we're actually doing Hazard
I
5.
found a gold lane. Deployed up.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Wrench. Appreciate it.
Second completed. Now finish the job.
All right. Got a deposit. I'm like full.
Down it goes!
So
Good
Krogan.
work. Objective has been achieved.
Oh,
Hold the drop
gosh,
pod
we're
when
done.
you're ready to leave.
A lot of stuff.
Eat lead! Explosives flying!
So Krogan, if you, this is something I meant to ask you the last couple times, but we never got around to it. So if you were, like, if you were just given, not a genie, right? Given a game studio, what sort of game would you want to produce?
Something cooperative. Oh shit, I'm shooting Steve. Probably something cooperative, like maybe not necessarily massive multiplayer, but
Stand back.
well, I do have an immediate game idea offhand, but I think it's inappropriate.
So
to
you're
mention.
thinking like cooperative, sort of like this, and
Maybe larger and maybe like a more complex goal, like maybe more
Need more ammo!
a more complex type of objective. Maybe not so much like shooter mechanics would be fine, but like more than just shooter mechanics, like more than just like mining. I'm not sure exactly, but
Drop pod has arrived.
I really like the
Secure
idea of there
room.
being like, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50
Drop pod
players
departing
like
in
working
T-minus 5
cooperatively
minutes.
toward a particular goal. Maybe even have teams, like maybe there's another team of 20, 30, 40, 50 players and such.
okay, so directly competitive.
Marker off!
Yeah, I do think competition and competitive competitions are healthy.
Get him, boy! We better hurry!
Like,
So-
I think the whole individualist battle royale thing is kind of like bad. I think more people need to.
Okay.
I think there needs to be more of a trend toward, you know, teams.
Well, I think that sort of used to be more the case, like Lineage, Lineage 2. A lot of the old MMOs were really based around you join a guild, your guild controls an area, you know, you want to take the castle, you work together to take the castle, that kind of stuff.
Well, one game I was really impressed with that has some woke elements but has like really good game mechanics is Alien Isolation. And that's not an MMO game, it's not a cooperative game, but one thing I really liked about it were like the non-combat like mechanics. Like you have to avoid combat and it's fun. I think it was well thought out and well implemented. And I'm just wondering, is there some way to get a game like that going that's cooperative in some sense? And like, yeah, there are combat elements. It's just simply shooting things isn't necessarily the best thing you should do. Like maybe there are, like maybe you need to escape, maybe you need to get around a procedurally generated base. I don't know. Like maybe you're a team of people on a ship that's like floating in space, and you need to like maybe like they're procedurally generated spaceships, and you have to send different people to different locations within the ship and like guide them to restore functionality of the ship. You know, these are just ideas I'm just coming up with right now. I haven't really thought about it a whole lot.
The mule has docked.
But,
Initiating launch sequence.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if like, you know, the idea of having like 5, 6 players on an abandoned ship that's disabled, and you have to send various people to different areas, and like maybe you're on the camera system or whatever, and you have to strategically open and close things for that player while that player does a sequence of events to get functionality of that sector of the ship back online. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not like people haven't done something like that where the second player opens things for the first player or vice versa, but you know, I feel like that could get fleshed out more.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a concept that various developers have played with, but nothing that's like really great has come out of it yet. But let's see. Alander wants to know what my Twitch is. It is just Gaming Embargo. You go type it in Twitch. And I'm streaming at Deep Rock Galactic, so you'll see me on the list. Base Gandalf wants to know if you or I have played the Bioshock games. He loves the first two, but Infinite was not his kind of game.
I haven't played the second one. Well, I think I did play the second one at one point, but I'm not really that familiar with it. But I'm actually working on a video series about the first and third game, and I don't like any of them. In terms of game mechanics, I can respect some of the artistic... I can respect some of the mechanics, I can respect some of the design choices. Ken Levine is definitely a talented... he's a highly intelligent guy who knows a lot about various historical eras. Very talented at symbolism, and he's just a very talented guy. Puts a lot of thought into his games, and mechanically the games are interesting, but they're highly, in my opinion, and I'm gonna make a whole video about this, breaking all this down, but they're both highly subversive and they're both highly anti-white. I do not support Ken Levine. I do not support the Bioshock series, and I hope to convince a lot of our people that it's a bad thing. And I'm not going to go into a 15-minute breakdown. All the things I chewed Embargo's ear off last night. Right after my stream on Odyssey, like he and Renee and I like talked briefly about this. And when I say briefly, I mean like I probably ranted for like what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes about it. So.
I don't know how long, but it'll be an interesting video when that comes out. Slot says he knows exactly what kind of game he'd make, but what matters is who's profiting. And I think that's a good point. Like even if someone was making neutral games, if the right kind of people were profiting, then it's like,
yes,
that would be a direct improvement. What the heck? This Goo Bomber.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a neutral game can just be like Doom 2016, like the Doom reboot. To me, that's kind of a neutral game in a sense, but in some ways, a lot of people wouldn't consider it neutral, like because it just supports like overt masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's good. So, neutral games that are highly profitable are fine. Like, I don't necessarily need a game. Like, organizations, like, there is that rule that anything that's not overtly for us becomes overtly against us over time, but I don't know if
Sullivan's
that really...
Law.
Yeah, I don't know if that necessarily applies to all video games. Like, I think video games... Well, I guess more and more as time goes on, that is applying to video games. I mean, case in point is, Hugo Martin from id Software is talking about creating a female Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit on Sunday or tomorrow. Because some commenters, some followers of mine, kind of got mad at me for highlighting... okay, the engineer's got that. I was basically highlighting Ryan Falk, or alternative hypothesis video on the potential cause and effect relationship of lowering testosterone across society over the past several decades, and I made a heinous tweet suggesting that the female Slayer idea follows from a lowering of testosterone across society, and some people were saying that I was reading false positives, and so we got some things to talk about, I think, with that, and I think that'll be interesting. So tune in tomorrow for that, if you feel so inclined.
So, let's see here. Zerberus says that he's already on... He's watching me on Twitch. He's talking to Alander. Also, he says that Sam Hyde has warned us about the Bioshock guys in his message to PewDiePie. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. If anybody has a link to that, please send that to me, either a DM on Twitter, to my email, americancrow@protonmail.com. Somehow get that to me, because I'm very interested in any of that stuff. Like, fairly going all out on the Bioshock stuff. Like, I will not include absolutely everything I come across, but I'll definitely take it into account and try to incorporate it.
Loot bug eliminated.
What?
Yeah, that was lame.
So, let's see here. Wrench says, sounds like a cool idea. I've thought of all kinds of game ideas, so it's always cool to hear others. And I think he was talking about your idea of, you know, having like one player control, almost sort of like map elements for the other player, in a way.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say that the entire game should be based around that, but like that could be one of the gameplay elements. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting way to make a game cooperative where, like, the different players really aren't doing the same thing. You know, it's like two basketball players are both playing basketball, and that's how they cooperate. But the basketball player and the coach are also cooperating, and their jobs are nothing alike, right? And we don't see a lot of that in video games, where, like, you have one person doing something that's, like, entirely alien to the other person.
well, one thing I always wanted when I was real into Call of Duty, like everybody goes through their Call of Duty phase, I guess, when they're younger. And one thing I always wanted to see happen was like Team A versus Team B, and Team A and Team B have like sort of commander or captain that gets like access to the map and can give certain orders and distribute certain resources, and like they command real life players, and you get incentives to follow their commands. Something along those lines. You know, and if anybody made an MMO, a war MMO, and I think there are some that kind of do this, but it would be interesting to have like, you know, a whole logistics squad that is just constantly resupplying the people in the fight. You know,
I'd say the closest thing to that is probably EVE Online.
Well, I think we need something, you know, I hate to say it like this, but I think we need something a little bit more dumbed down, a little bit more casual in a sense. Like, like let's say you had a team of 16 players, a team 16 versus 16. 4 of the players are logistics, and their job is to like assign
Well done. The mule
a
running again.
logistics route and get supplies to the front line of the combat. And you know, then you have 4 players who have to do something else, 4 players who have to do something else. And like, you know, like maybe there are people who are designated to the front line, and then maybe there are people who are designated to kind of guard the logistics personnel. I don't know. I mean, this could definitely be more fleshed out, but you know, I think
Let there be light.
in terms of it being like,
Anyone
you know,
needs ammo?
accessible at the Call of Duty level, I think that's important because
Well, I think, you know, when you're organizing this many people, it's always going to get complicated at the top level, right? Like, it's not going to be an easy game to command, but you want it easy for the, like, the lowest ranked guy to come in and pick up a rifle and play.
Yeah, like a lot of the lower tiered stuff. Shit, what is shooting? Oh, it's that spit monster. It ducked out.
Yeah, the menaces are
Yeah, I don't
big
know where
problem.
it went. But yeah, I mean, you see that in a lot of games already. There are particular jobs in multiplayer games that are kind of more suited to a higher IQ, more invested player.
Better stand back.
And you know, it's not like every position in the game is reflectant of that skill level. So I don't think that's inherently a problem. You know, like you said, you have to have a good.
Resupply arrived.
You might have a high skill
Suckers.
ceiling and a low skill floor.
But I'm faster.
You know, as long as you have room for both. I mean, of course, the problem you run into there is, I mean, if you don't have anybody who's good at the high end, then you know everybody on the team kind of suffers.
Yeah, or
But-
something, or depending on how the game's made, like nothing happens, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
well, we can't do anything because we don't have one of these guys, right? There's no commander here, so guess we'll just wait.
Well, I mean, I guess you could have some kind of AI commander. That would at least be like mediocre.
The mules are heading back. Follow them.
Well,
let's
and
get
also
that
you
drop
can-
pod fixed.
You can help
Remember,
encourage
always to
the kind of people who can command to go ahead and just do it by giving them incentives. Oh, did we already get this? We already got that. Blew that up for no reason.
All mules secured. Now to get the pod working. First, establishing a proper
Let's see. Wrench says it's odd to have another Doomslayer. It makes Doomslayer less special if someone else can do his job for him.
It makes no sense to have a female Slayer, period. Like some of the, we'll get into this more tomorrow, but the Doom series, I don't care about Quake and, you know, whatever Crash, whatever her name was. I don't care about any offshoot or anything like that. Like, Doom has always been about, like, unadulterated masculinity. Like, it was about a man going through and shooting up demons and stuff, and, like, you know, it's about a dude being a dude, rip and tear. You know, that's not a female thing. It's just not. There's no reason for there to be a female Slayer. It's just kind of, I don't care how hot she is. Like, like some people were complaining about that. Like, oh, you just, you know, you're just complaining about a hot character. It's like, dude, I don't care if she's a hussy. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, you know, if you're a dude and you really want a hot female Slayer, you're just gooming, as far as I'm concerned. If
Yeah, I can. Find Ebo Nuts.
Okay, you're echoing for me now.
No, I was speaking to the team.
Okay,
In the game.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can say the COOM word on Twitch. I'm gonna refrain from saying that from now on because I don't know. It seems like a
I just say consume or something.
yeah.
But Zerberus.
Well, also another point I wanted to make real quick. Sorry, if I may, but it's like, well, it's like how many chicks, and if your idea is, oh well, you know, some chicks like to play as a Slayer or whatever. It's like, okay, well, how many chicks are playing Doom? Like, I know chicks play Doom, not unheard of, but it's like it's a very small demographic. And like a lot of people hide behind the, you know, I mean, it's just silly. I mean, you can look up stats on the demographic distribution of players over genres, and it's pretty clear cut.
Well, and
You know, and what,
if
what
she
we're seeing
likes
across
the idea
board-
of ripping and tearing and destroying these imps and all this stuff, maybe she would also. I don't know. I don't see any reason
I
why
don't like
she.
playing as a dude.
Yeah, she might be like, you know, if she's gonna kind of come in and roleplay and like the idea, maybe she's gonna want to see this like buff dude rip everything apart. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that ties into why I think Alien Isolation is kind of not so paused in a way, and it kind of makes sense to play as a female because it's like, it's not direct, like, your job is to avoid combat and get around things and outmaneuver certain stuff, and it's like, it kind of makes more sense to be like that if you're a female, you know, like, you're not, I mean, again, you're dealing with high technology. You're dealing with an alien, so it's not really like a female navigating like a male world or whatever. But you know, spiritually, I think it makes sense. You know, your job as a female in most cases, or your strong suits as a female in most cases, isn't going to be like direct open combat. Like you're more likely to try to circumvent combat, get around it, so on and so forth. And I feel like that makes sense to play as a woman in that regard. You know, like it's fitting. I don't know.
Zone, or we will lose the connection. We only got one shot at this.
Ooh, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. This is one of the harder missions I find. You're kind of stuck in one spot.
Triangulation at 50%.
Careful! Flares up!
Shields ready.
Swarmers, my least favorite thing.
Oh yeah.
Zerverus says they were very successful in portraying female slayers in movies like Resident Evil and Underworld. But most of the time, female slayers are just out of place.
I just, you know, a lot of guys, and this is something, God, we're gonna end up talking about this today instead of tomorrow. I just feel like a lot of guys will see that there's some kind of weird element of feminization. There'll be limited feminization of a particular IP or an idea some years ago, and then they'll think, well, that wasn't bad. That's a precedent. We can deal with it. And it's like, I don't care if there was some precedent of portraying a female in some kind of other weird light at some point. You know, to me, it's all like the long march toward the end. And, you know, I don't view precedent in an IP as like, well, that justifies it. They just need to go about it a different way. Like, you know, we had like these real masculine female players or characters at one point, and so, you know, like, we can do it again. It just needs to be done right. It's like, I'm kind of more like, far more militant now than I was a few years ago in that regard. Like, I don't know what how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I
Kinda
think
curious.
on some level it's like people continually accept more and more of things what were once unacceptable, and it's like,
Better stand back.
you know, it's kind of like the whole conservatism is liberalism, but slower, you know?
Yeah. Or it's the means by which the left gets ahead or pushes the Overton window, because conservatives say, well, precedent, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
We'll allow, you know, it's just how they don't push back. And so a lot of these gamer people that I'm talking about, like, they're just really not willing to push back unless it's like very, very overt. But then even if they do push back against the new push forward, they don't get us back any further. They just stop. They push just enough to stop the approach and not regain any territory. So then that leaves us right where we're at. And then the left comes again and makes another push. And just, unless you regain some territory, it's just more likely that sooner or later the left, you know, I use that term loosely, they're going to regain ground.
Yeah.
Or they're going to gain more ground.
Over here by the market
People
point.
really don't understand that you have to push back against these things at some point. I mean, even if on some level you're kind of okay with remaining at a particular point, like, it's just...
Yeah, well, and that's what kind of Slots is saying here. He says the trajectory matters more than the cause,
Yes.
right? So, like,
Yes.
even if you're okay with a particular point, if people are pushing for that because they want to go even further, it's your job to push back. That's kind of almost like what Jordan Peterson talks about. He's like, Jordan Peterson's view on gay marriage is he's kind of fine with it, but he's always pushed back against gay marriage because the people pushing for it use it as a way to undermine marriage.
Supplies are on the way.
Yeah.
So he pushes back. Who's bringing supplies down and where are they going?
And that's, you know, this is what bothers me about
Okay,
Peterson.
whatever.
Sometimes he makes these good points, but what he will never do is say that, well, in order to combat anti-whiteness, you have to be pro-white. Like,
Yeah.
you have to take up a collective white identity. And, you know, again, I would, maybe you and I should sit down and really talk about this at some point and make like a well-articulated video about it, because it's like, I don't even necessarily think you need to be a true white identitarian to realize that pushing the pro-white agenda works for you, to a certain degree. Like, you could not really believe in racial realities the way that Embargo and I do, but there's still an argument to be made that it is in your interest, even as like a true libertarian, quote unquote, civic nationalist, quote unquote, type. Pushing a pro-white agenda helps to combat the forces that are going to undermine what your optimal worldview is, or what your optimal worldview is.
Yeah. Spencer says, "Hey guys, how's it going? Good to see you, Spencer."
Fuel cells at 75%. You're
Spencer
almost
says,
there.
"I would say they always wanted it, but the people doing it now are stupid." I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think he's talking about like how people will support a thing because they want to go further with it than that. Let's see here. Zerberus says Ghostbusters, they failed miserably on establishing this even in a fictional scenario. Talking about the whole female Ghostbusters thing. Well, I mean, it all comes off as so fake to, you know, even
Well,
just
did they
regular
fail?
people.
I mean, that's the thing. In the long march forward, they didn't fail.
Yeah.
They established a kind of precedent. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize this, that, like, economically and socially and whatnot, on a certain metric, yeah, they failed, but they got their foot in the door, you know, and now when people see another attempt like that, they're not going to be as shocked about it, and they're not probably going to be as willing to push quite as hard against it as they were before. They're on some level, they're kind of going to accept it. I went down, sorry.
It's all good. I'm grabbing health. I'm running over to you.
Calculating orbital trajectory.
I'm gonna freeze this bastard. Oh, come on. Thought I had that. Uh-oh.
I am going to throw down a shield as soon as I am up.
Radiation shielding.
If I get up. Just don't feel too bad if you have to leave me.
I'm about to die. Well, I mean, we still got 30 seconds before the thing even opens. I gotta grab some health from these guys.
Operational.
Let's put some stuff on this guy. Is there anyone else around to shoot this guy? Doesn't look like it. And I am about dead.
Calibrated.
We might have to leave you here.
Getting supplied.
Drop pod powered up and ready to leave. It's time to bring it all home. Get on board. We're leaving with or without you.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, I went down again. That's a bummer. Dusty, thanks for the ice cream. Oh, I'm up. There's a bunch of shit here. That guy's gonna... Come on. I can't even see. Oh, we're leaving.
Sensors on needs assembly.
This guy walks in. But, it's okay. Emu says, had to leave the stream for a short while. How are you and Krogan getting on Has 5? Well, I mean, we're winning. Krogan's...
I think you guys can get me up, to be honest. Well, not
no,
now.
we only had 12 seconds before the pod left.
You know what I should have done is I should have fired a zip line over and like hovered above the entryway. That's really what I should have done.
Wrench says, what do you mean by race realist? I mean, basically, a biological view of race, right? Biological genetic.
Human biodiversity. Yeah, like
HBD.
meaningful aggregate differences between the races. Basically, race is real.
Yeah.
Black people as a group behave and think a certain way. White people as a group behave and think a certain way, and so on and so forth. I mean, and this even gets into like subgroups of white people.
Yeah.
Not all white people are exactly the same. Like there's a substantial difference between Eastern Europeans and Western Europeans, and there's a substantial difference between Northwest Europeans and Mediterraneans. Now there's a lot of overlap between those groups, and you know, all of those groups share far more in common than they do with each other than any of them do with anybody outside the European continuum, so to speak. But it's just like, you know, a lot of people like hear the term human biodiversity or race realism and they think like all white people are the same, and it's just like, it just goes to show you how like mischaracterized a lot of our ideas and talking points are.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a difficult concept to get on some level, but you know, at the same time, it's kind of simple. Spencer says, they always wanted what we have now for a long time, but people pushing for it today aren't as smart as the people in the past. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. It comes off that way because what they're pushing for at this point is so extreme. But the fact that it's so like, if they were to be, if you were to travel back in time to the 40s and 50s and bring, you know, adults our age, and when I say our age, I mean anywhere from 25 to 35, let's just say that, or 25 to 40. Somebody who's 25 or 40, you bring them from 1940 into 2021, and you show them what's being talked about here, I mean, they would be just flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they would just think that this is absolutely. They would have no idea how this happened.
Yeah, like that new
And,
health secretary who's a transgender woman and wants kids to get puberty
They couldn't
blockers.
fathom that. They couldn't fathom that.
No.
They would have a mental breakdown, I think. Like, it's just like they would think aliens invaded the Earth and, like, you know, well, in a way they did.
Yeah, like all the humans have been replaced in the government.
So I mean, a lot of people seriously underestimate the level of sophistication that goes on within the left. The big difference is, like, there are a lot of dumb people on the left, but I think people really underestimate how many smart people are on the left.
Mhm.
I think they really underestimate that. I mean, but the big thing is that the media is on their side. A lot of big money is on their side, so that helps a lot. And we are definitely in this feminized paradigm where everybody usually thinks in terms of emotion and not like systemization or pragmatism. So a lot of the times you can come up with like somebody like Emil Kierkegaard can cite a whole bunch of studies and outline a whole intellectual case that's like pretty rock solid. You know, it's very well presented with a lot of data points, and there are a lot of people who just that won't have any effect on men and women because everything at this point is just so emotionally driven, and this ties into lowering levels of testosterone. I mean, I don't want to be a hammer that views everything as a nail, but like when you watch somebody like Ryan Falk's, you know, alternative hypothesis video on testosterone, there are a couple segments in there where he makes these really good points that the low levels of testosterone that are occurring now simply weren't around 50 years ago, and that, you know, if you look at the distribution curve, you know, it's the same way on the high end. Like there are no longer men with testosterone levels above a certain level. And that is one way or another, to one extent or another, is going to have an effect on how people think. I think testosterone does correlate to some extent with, you know, how men, like it does correlate with telling the truth. There's a correlation with that.
Yeah.
And so if you have this huge surplus of society that has very low testosterone levels, you're going to have a lot of potentially still high IQ men who are going to be more predisposed to lying to achieve their means, to achieve their goals. And they might be even lying to themselves to some extent. Yeah, so I think that, you know, there's a lot to unpack with what's going on today, and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. So I think that's why we all should be following the golden one. Probably going to raise our T levels. Just a thought.
Yeah.
You watch the golden one
you know,
and do
like,
his stuff. Probably not a bad idea.
I don't think we all have to necessarily try to, like, you know, let's be honest, acquiring his physique and his level of physical fitness it's not as time consuming as some people make it out to be, but it is time consuming. I don't necessarily think everybody has to be a bodybuilder.
No.
But that said, I think all of us should be lifting weights and exercising and doing what we can in what free time we have to get as close to something like that as we can.
And it's worth, you know, thinking about reducing phytoestrogens and xenoestrogens in your diet and that kind of stuff. I don't know if he talks about that, but I've only seen him do the workout stuff. But, yeah. Spencer says he's looked at information on T levels and it's dropped by half. Yeah, it's dropped pretty significantly. Also, do you see what I forgot to put it on the stream until now, but I have my dude in the lower right. That's my driller. I have this green screen background video of my driller looking around. So you can see him in the lower left of the screen. There he is. That's my driller. Yeah.
I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but I posted this on Twitter the other day. I posited the question: is there a correlation between a drop in testosterone in men and a tendency to find more muscular, more masculine women more attractive? And Trudiger, I think, had some thoughts on this in the 1800s. He basically figured that men and women, to some extent, like, I mean, and I would like to see data on this, but the idea is that, you know, weak men will find strong women attractive, and, you know, really strong men will find very effeminate women more attractive, and the idea is that it's like nature trying to like balance itself out. I don't know if I believe it's like quite that overt or that cut and dry, but I do wonder if there really is a trend in men for when they have lower testosterone levels, they'll start to find more things like a female slayer attractive. Like, I wonder if that plays into like all this gamer culture of like, you know, like acceptance of like feminists will push all these. There's this agenda to like get all these women into these traditional like masculine male roles, and I wonder if on some level, if that's a factor. I mean, and there are varying degrees in which women are pushed into traditional male roles. I mean, like, you have the extreme end of the feminists where like they'll have like ugly women, like they won't even look like a quote unquote hussy. Like, they don't have big boobs and a round butt and all of that, and they just have a bunch of like battle gear on, and they have like thick muscular thighs and whatnot. Like, they'll be like just like what was her name that we saw yesterday on the Rage 2 stream? Lily didn't look like a masculine. Like, there are women who are very physically fit, and they look like they could perform some kind of military-esque task. Lily was not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
She looked very thin and frail, not able to do a whole lot. But I do wonder if men with lower T levels start to find the other archetype of female I was just talking about, like a little bit more masculine, a little bit more physically fit. I wonder if they start to find that more and more attractive as their T levels drop.
Yeah. Why don't you do Fungus Bog's escort duty? We can do it on any hazard level. So, you want to make it easier so we can keep talking easier?
Escort? I don't see escort.
That's the that's the drill dozer one. Fungus Bog's escort duty. Called Decayed Letdown.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see. I'm sorry. And you want to do it not on Hazard 5?
Well, if you want to keep talking, make it easier.
Orbital insertion
Up to you.
sequence
Whatever.
initiated.
We're doing
Orbital
Hazard
drop-off.
5, and we're
Okay.
kicking. We got to get every barrel into here first. Why don't we do that first? Let's
Okay,
get every
that's probably going to
barrel.
take a long time.
Barrels review.
This is probably what we're going to do for the rest of the
Orbital
stream, is try and get all the barrels in.
Well,
Try
you
not to
gotta
kick them in the pit.
prioritize.
They're a big pain in the butt to get out of the
Drop
pit, so
sequence
don't kick them into the
initiating.
pit. Okay, so just so everyone on stream knows, there's an achievement to get every barrel in the whole space rig into the drop pod. So
Really?
yeah. So don't kick them in the pit. Whatever you do.
You know what? I don't think I have the patience for this. I think we should just. I'm trying to get one in there now, and I'm seeing how much time it's going to take, and it's
Launch
just like.
control reports foreign object near the launch tube.
Whoa.
It appears
Yeah.
that something is interfering with the force field. Would you
Yeah,
happen
we're
to know
going.
anything about it?
Krogan's like,
Sorry.
all the
No,
barrels
it's
in the
just gonna take
pod.
way- it's just
5
gonna take
seconds
way-
later. Never mind.
Well, I could extrapolate how long it was going to take based off of how long it was taking to get the one in there, and you know, I don't even think if we focused on it for the duration for another 30 minutes, we'd get it.
Oh yeah, we would. We would do it. But yeah. Wrench says thoughts on the Proud Boys. We'll get back to the T stuff later. Thoughts on the Proud Boys. I mean, I think some of them are guys with their heart in the right place, and I think some of them are, you know, more goofball Civnats and Israel First conservatives, and you know.
Well,
a
there's
very
been
mixed
a
bag.
lot of stuff coming out that like all their leadership are basically Fed assets.
Yeah, I'm
or
not surprised.
Fed turncoats. So it's just like, dude, I wouldn't, you know, like, as far as I'm concerned, they're all covered in a 2-inch layer of
This
diarrhea.
time we're after an Omeran
Like,
hot
you know.
zone.
Is that a
In
saying
order
where
to
you live?
extract it,
No,
we're
I
sending
just
an
made that
autonomous
up.
drill dozer to support you. The drill dozer
That's
will
because I'm a really
automatically
cool
home in on
guy,
the Hearthstone, so your job
and I
will
come
be
up
to
with, like,
escort it
cool
and keep it
analogies.
running.
Oh.
Good luck, miners.
I just wouldn't, the idea is, you just don't go near it. Like, if somebody came up to you and they were covered in diarrhea, you
Watch
probably
out.
would avoid them.
Drilldozer approaching landing zone.
Yeah. I
You
probably
wouldn't be like,
would
oh, well,
avoid
they're
them.
saying
yes.
the right things. Somebody came up to you covered in shit, and they were like, white, I'm pro-white. You'd probably be like, okay, that's cool. You should still stay away from me. Of course, they don't say they're pro-white. I mean, they
No.
say a bunch of other silliness.
Yeah, they say stuff like cultural chauvinists. But in regards,
What are your thoughts? Unless you wanted to move on, what are your thoughts on the Proud Boys?
well, I kind of said it. I think some of them are goofballs, and some of them have their heart in the right place, and they're all involved in
Where
something
is that dead you?
that's sponsored by federal agencies. you know, at the end of the day, it's a complicated world, and I totally understand that there's a lot of good guys in there who get fooled into thinking that, the organization is more serious than it is, right? If like 50 guys who like join the Proud Boys, started hanging around your neighborhood, I wouldn't be too worried about like the security in the neighborhood. I don't think they're gonna screw anything up, but some of their political views are a little bit naive, right? I mean, obviously they're not willing or able to understand some of the biological factors that are at play. Alright, probably gonna have a bunch of swarmers come at us now.
Swarm detected. Keep the drill dozer operational at all costs.
But in regards to T levels and how that affects sexual attraction, it's like, it seems pretty reasonable. Well, okay, hormone levels, sex hormones affecting sexual attraction to certain things, like, whoa, what a crazy idea. I mean, obviously that's true. Whether that translates into specifically low T men being on average more attracted to like masculine women, more muscular women, sort of like badass, take charge, throw you on the bed sort of women. I mean, like, it on some level you look at it and you think, maybe. I kind of go back and forth,
Well, I mean, you see more and more, like, what's that character in that new Resident Evil game? Like, that 9-foot-tall woman who, like, dominates the player, and I've seen all these memes, like, come out around that, and it's like, dude, there are definitely a lot of guys who think that's, like, attractive.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know the numbers. I don't think it's, like, a huge amount of people who are like that, but I just suspect that there's some correlation. It might be, like, 0.2, It might not be anywhere near 0.5 or 0.8 or anything like that, but I suspect that there's some kind of correlational overlap.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that unreasonable.
Nitra up there.
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff coming up after this.
The drill dozer is out of fuel. You need to refill the fuel canisters mounted on its back. Use the canisters to extract any nearby oil shale, and we'll have the drill dozer operational again in no time.
This cavern is huge.
Oh boy. So tell me where you want a zip line. There is Predator over there, or Praetorian.
I don't... Oh, shit, there goes all the oil shale. I don't know if we need a zip line right now. I mean, I think, when it comes to, like, sexuality, like, trying to speculate on exactly how a change in hormones over the last few generations might lead to certain sexual trends today.
I went down.
That's, it's quite it's a big topic, And I feel like it's one that's, like, super easy to form speculations on, but it's one of those topics where I'm also thinking that it's also somewhat likely it's the sort of topic that people are going to use their instincts on and kind of be wrong about to a lot, like,
Well,
more
that's
than
why
you
I
might
like
think.
Brian's videos so much because, you know, he did, like, reiterate that point over and over again. Like, you know, you do have to be careful about how much you correlate here.
Yeah.
Or how many, you have to be careful about the conclusions you draw here. And let's face it, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are going to be like, it's all about testosterone. It's nothing else. That's all it is. You know? Everything going on is because of T levels. And it's like, there's probably more going on than that.
Well, and I mean, it's like,
It needs to be.
you know, I'm not sure how accurate our view of history is. You know,
Oh,
it was
boy.
kind of one of the things I talked about in my thread today that kind of went semi-viral. But, where are you? Jeez. Looks like you died on the ceiling.
The bug's up there.
Oh. Probably should
Yeah.
have mentioned that.
I thought it was obvious, but
No, it wasn't. Okay, so let's take a look around real quick. Oh my god, this is gonna be bad.
Medics are pansy.
I think we're about to
Nitro has been
lose.
withdrawn, and supply pod is inbound.
Yeah, unless... Okay, yeah, we're done. Yeah, tell me if there's a leech next time.
I mean, I thought I was out in the open, and I thought you could see it.
No, I was doing other things. I was
Right.
eating oil shell.
Uh-huh.
So, Slot says low T men are probably intimidated by masculine women. I'm not sure that's true. You know, we're gonna go into, like, really sort of basal stereotypes here. But, you know, how many times do you see, like, the soy boy effeminate man with the really like a woman who's significantly bigger than him in multiple ways and like has him on a leash and pushes him around, you know? She might have a more significant mustache than him.
Well, they also love consuming like video game or media-active content with women who are like super powerful. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, this is what I was getting into. I think there's a significant, I don't know how big it is, but there's a significant audience of men who would love this like decked out, super powerful female slayer.
Yeah.
Like,
I think a
because
lot of
they-
these
they-
low T guys would like someone who would push them down onto the bed. They don't want to push a girl onto the bed. They want to be pushed onto the bed.
right.
Right? I'm, you know, people will say stuff like intimidated by women, intimidated by powerful women, and masculine women. I'm not sure if anyone's intimidated by masculine women. I think on some level, low T guys might be attracted to her, and high T guys are not intimidated. But, you know, I don't
No,
know.
they're just not attracted to him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's just like that's kind of one of the dumber things that I think people have said that I really don't think that there's anything to it.
Like you're just afraid of a powerful woman kind of deal.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think
It gets pushed a lot.
I think
It gets said a lot.
The only okay, I'll say this. The only reason I think that there's anything to it is because like there's something to it insofar that like women, if a woman can beat you as a man, if you're a man and there's a woman and she beats you at something that's traditionally thought of as being male, like it takes away from your masculine perception in society, and that's what men are afraid of. They're not afraid of the woman actually beating them at something. They're afraid of like what other people are going to think about them. I mean, there is something to that.
Slot says
But in
men
terms of
who
being-
say, wow, big powerful women are just enraptured with novelty, not really low T. I mean, there might be some of that. I mean, certainly in the modern day, people are more exposed to like hypersexualized imagery and stuff more constantly, where the novelty really helps, you know?
Mission selected. Your chariot awaits, gentlemen. Move out. Draft sequence initiating. Fasten your seatbelts.
Josie says she wishes this game had PvP. like Left 4 Dead. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
we've
it would be
talked
good.
about that. Yeah, I don't think it would be that. I don't know how big the studio is, and I don't know how, because they would definitely have to dedicate X personnel to that. So I don't know how big the studio is, and if they have enough personnel to be able to like specifically dedicate to that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had, you know, it doesn't seem like they would need that many staff and that many resources to add that on. But I mean, again, considering like how much this game costs, that there's no microtransactions in it, etc. You know, like I don't know if they could take that hit at the moment.
team, you've signed up for escort duty. Our target is an
I just don't know. I don't know what their
and your
profitability
job
numbers
is to
are or
protect
anything
and
like that.
maintain the drill dozer
I mean, it would
Yeah,
certainly be
I
a big
agree.
Get ready.
undertaking.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
Because I don't think it was a game that was designed with that originally. Like, when you look at the abilities of the bugs, there's nothing in there that says to me, like, oh yeah, this is definitely something, this is like a complete skill set that you'd give to a player and it would be really fun and
Explosive
interesting.
spice.
Well, some of the swarm bugs I wouldn't give any player agency to, but like some of the what do you call them? The ones that fly around with the two green butts.
Oh, what's it called? They're the goo bombers.
Yeah, I mean, those I would give player agency to. There's a lot of nitro over here.
Keep in mind we're low oxygen.
Mining is hard work. Good thing.
Slot says controlling a spitter, oppressor. Well, even the oppressor only has a couple moves, and he moves slow as hell. I mean,
Well,
acid
I see a lot
spitter
of
maybe.
strategic
Yeah.
ability with that, because if you can always reorient yourself so that whatever player is shooting at you is not shooting your butt, then I mean you can keep other players occupied, even if you're not doing damage to them. I mean you can. I mean, again, it comes down to like a lot of player coordination. Like if you have 4 players on the enemy team, there's a lot you could do to coordinate to occupy.
Oh, watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think it really works like that. Like,
It's
you look at a game
she's
like Left 4
bigger
Dead,
on the inside.
the only way it really sort of works is when you have 4 people who can, like, incapacitate players all at the same time, you know? It's like... Oh. Whoa. Hello. I think my game crashed. Can you still hear me? That's a bummer. I don't know if the stream's still working. The game definitely crashed, and I don't think Krogan can hear me right now. Out of video memory trying to allocate a texture. Wow. Had a... Okay, I'm glad you can hear me. I think I ran out of VRAM, and the game's still sort of chugging. Sort of. It was actually a Windows error that popped up first, and then I had some other things come up. Well, this is interesting. But anyway, I think when it comes to, I think we were still talking about the low T stuff, right? When it comes to that, it's like, it's really complicated stuff. And someone in chat, what did they say? Emu says, don't they also have high estrogen levels? And, you know, I wish I understood more about some of these hormonal systems. I know one of the things that T does is get turned into estrogen, right? Like, so like T is a thing, it does its own thing, but it's also like an estrogen precursor. This is one of the reasons why bodybuilders and stuff who inject high levels of testosterone will deal with a ton of estrogen, and they'll have like the male breast form and the reduction in testicle size, because all that T, some of the body, let's say if the body turns 20% of the T into estrogen, and then you double the testosterone, well, now you have, you know, a lot more estrogen production as well. So, you know, some of these hormonal systems are fairly complicated, and if you sort of touch one, the whole balance of everything shifts, and every number is bouncing around for its for related reasons. So it's like we could even say that yes, like we could even potentially find something and we say, okay, well, the reduction in T is causing this, but not directly, because the reduction in T is causing a reduction in something else or an increase in something else. And that's also a big deal. Now, you got to keep in remember, so adipose tissue, which is your fat cells, right? Fat cells, we used to think of them as just storage cells, and they really didn't do anything else. But they do play into the endocrine system. Like they have, what's it called? They have an effect on your hormones, and particularly estrogen, I believe. So it may be that, no, it's definitely my computer, but it may be on some level that a lot of our hormone problems could just be the obesity epidemic. That's part of where maybe we're facing some of these hormonal problems isn't because of any particular thing with T. It could be, I mean, it's complicated stuff. And I was on Academic Agents stream the other day, and I believe it's Mr. D. Mr. D was really pushing the idea that, and there may be some truth to it, the two world wars had a significant effect on our what's it called? On our hormone levels. Yeah, like I said, my game has crashed and it isn't doing anything, and I'm having trouble actually closing anything. So, yeah, I believe you're just looking at what my game looked like before it froze. Zerverus says the logic, which is really a projection from those feminists and bio-Leninists, is that men are just afraid of women only works if you are a weak man. It doesn't work if you're a strong man, but they would still do it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those, like when they say, "Oh, you're afraid of women," you can't hear Krogan because, like again, I think everything crashed. I don't hear him. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you guys. I don't hear. I'm just me here. It's one of those things. I think it's just an insult. I think it's so like. Have you ever seen a man and a woman directly compete, especially in anything physical? You'll have this situation where if the man wins, it's like a false win, and then he gets like accused of like beating up on a woman, right? But if he loses, they're like, "Huh, you lost to a girl." It's sort of this is why one of the reasons why it's like not fun for men to have to compete against women, because it's lose-lose, right? And I feel like when people say stuff like, "Oh, you're afraid of woman," it really doesn't have anything to do with any sort of logical thing. It's just sort of this insinuation that you are the kind of guy, if you competed with a woman, you would lose to a woman, right? So you have competing and losing to a woman, which is like bad or shameful, and people make fun of you for it. They're suggesting when they say you're intimidated by women that you're that kind of guy who would lose to a woman. And it's just sort of this thing. And it sort of reminds me of, you'll hear people say stuff like, "Oh, he's compensating for something. This guy, he's got this big house or a nice car, or he's got this cool gun, because he's got some lack in the pants," or there's an insinuation of a lack of manliness, right? He bought that because he needed it to be more manly. And I think that's like the same accusation fundamentally, that like he's less masculine than a man should be. He's like a woman. He might even lose to women if he were to have to compete with women. Yeah. Emu says homeostasis is complicated. Birth control, forever chemicals, etc. Oh, okay, that's two people. Okay, Emu says homeostasis is complicated. Yes. Base Gandalf says birth control, forever chemicals, etc. Yeah, that's huge. The hormonal birth control is some scary stuff. You have these women getting on hormonal birth control, they'll find a guy they like. They don't realize how the birth control has affected their hormones, and the hormones affect what they find attractive. And they have these heartbreaking stories where a woman is like married to a guy for years. She finds him attractive, and they love each other, and they're going to start a family. So she gets off hormonal birth control. Because her hormones are now changed from not being on birth control, she now finds different sorts of men attractive. And some of these women, in the middle of what seemed like a happy marriage, they might their sexuality might change so drastically that they find their husbands disgusting. And that's just heartbreaking. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that from either perspective, as the man or the woman. Like, first, from the woman's perspective, you think you found the guy, you get off birth control, this is the guy you married. Let's say you even find the smell of him disgusting. You find the way he looks like bad. And from the opposite side, you're the guy, and you think everything's going great. She's going to get off hormonal birth control so you can have a child together, so you can start your family. And now she, like, on some level has this deep repulsion to you, and it's totally not fair. Like, it's absolutely not fair. All the things that were said that were meant at the time, the love letters or whatever, like, that's all out the window. She is deeply, deeply hormonally repulsed by you. Like, the kind of woman that she was when she picked you and the kind of woman she is now are like two different women, because hormonal birth control has a significant effect on the female psyche. Hormones in general have a significant effect on everyone. And you can even look at the transsexual community, where they'll talk about some of the psychological changes that they go through when going on hormone replacement therapy. Some of those changes are pretty big. You'll hear people say something like, oh, well, a woman's sex drive is just as much as a guy's sex drive, or something like that. And it's totally not true. And one of the reasons we know is we'll look at someone who goes female to male transsexual. They'll start out with more female level of hormones. We'll put them on testosterone, hormone therapy, put them on more male hormones. Their hormone sort of milieu inside their body will be more like a man's, and they'll report feeling sexual urges more like how men report it, right? So these are powerful things, and it's crazy. Spencer says he would recommend American Krogan look at the Mouse Utopia experiment. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I feel like sometimes when people learn about the Mouse Utopia experiment, their minds go sort of wild. They start thinking all sorts of things about what it might mean and how it implies, it's like, I think it's good. I think it has uses to look at that. I think one of the best uses to understand what that isn't to like draw exact lines for like, see, this is why cities will destroy us or something. And I think some people do that. I think the best thing about the Mouse Utopia experiments, and even like the experiments where they'll take college kids and they'll put some in like a pseudo jail, and then they'll like appoint jailers. All of those experiments show us that when it comes to, social organisms, including humans, when you create highly novel living conditions, you can have like some shockingly unexpected results, right? Like, someone out there has got this great idea, like, let's organize society like X. And there could be all sorts of like potentially terrible things that could happen if we did what they were thinking. And it's not because it was necessarily like a crazy idea. It's just that like novel conditions produce significantly different behaviors than you might think from the outside. Wrench says, you mean the Stanford prison experiment? Yeah, I believe that was one of them. And, and I don't bring it up because like, no one should go read the Stanford prison experiment and then come to this, like, someone will use that experiment and what they're talking about to come to some specific conclusion. I'm just saying, like, rather than trying to draw all these specific conclusions from these sorts of experiments and whether they were good or whether they could have been improved upon and whether the way they did it was kind of bad or, not very scientific, all this sort of stuff, just the notion that highly novel, sort of invented circumstances can lead to all sorts of problems. That's why I'm really interested, but also highly concerned about, Elon Musk saying like, let's go colonize Mars. You know, the resources to colonize Mars will probably, or to colonize space or to colonize anything, right? At first, we'll probably use extremely limited resources, right? And the people who are living there together in that early sort of beginnings of society will likely be living in a highly novel environment. And there is the chance that our early colonies could encounter some sort of problem that causes them more or less to collapse, right? Like a total social breakdown sort of situation because they're highly novel. This is why I've always thought about like why I would like to see these guys who want to bring us to space, who want to colonize space or colonize another planet. We should really be taking their bare bones models for how they think they want to organize things and producing that somewhere on Earth just for like testing, because it's going to be bad if we make a model here on Earth and then the society collapses and we find people killing each other and we have to sort of stop the experiment. But it's going to be disastrous if they're 150,000 kilometers away or longer. It's like there are times of the year. What if the society breaks down when when Mars is on the opposite side of the sun, right? That's a really far, that's a long way away. I mean, yeah. Zerberus says, this is what Agent Smith told Neo in The Matrix. The novel vision of The Matrix was a total failure. Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah, they created that sort of utopia in The Matrix and everyone rejected it. There is, I think on some level, that's what they're speaking to. This like highly novel, like humans evolutionary came about in a certain environment. If you recreate that in sort of environment, it might not be like the best life everyone could live, but at least like it would sort of work. There are certainly other environments that you might speculate might be better, but could instead be much worse. Yeah. Base Gandalf says they were even working on a male birth control pill. They're going to chemically destroy us. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are putting hormones into their body, not realizing how significant that effect is, right? I mean, it's just not good. Josie says the astronauts would all go insane. Certainly a possibility. Wrench says, due to the state of our planet, we need to start colonizing other planets. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't think that's true, because look at the state of Mars. I mean, if you like, which of the two planets is better for human life? Easily us. Easily Earth is way better than Mars. And you would have to do something drastic to ever make Earth less attractive than any of the other planets around. So it's like, when people start to think along the lines of, we could have ecological disaster on this planet, that's why we need to expand. Basically, the other planets and moons in our solar system are all like way harder challenges than any sort of ecological disaster here on Earth. I think we need to expand. I don't think it's because we have to avoid ecological disaster. I think it would be good, an asteroid could wipe us all out if we're all on one planet, for one, So I think there are reasons to move off. And I think also, like, one of the nice things about, just look at the founding of the United States and the Pilgrims. A lot of the Pilgrims had significant problems with the established religions and powers in Europe, right? So they left to somewhere new and they settled it, right? And we could talk about the Indians and this sort of stuff there. But to a large degree, a lot of the Pilgrims, depending on where they landed, it was basically empty wherever they landed, right? And they just started living. Well, more and more and more, everywhere is claimed, right? There's nowhere for you to say, what everyone else is doing is unacceptable. I'm going to do my own thing peacefully over here. Like, that's going away. I mean, we saw that with Ruby Ridge, right? They're going to go live peacefully in Idaho. The FBI and the ATF kills them, right? So if we start to expand our reaches beyond the planet and eventually beyond the solar system, there is the possibility for people to get away from terribleness if that's what needs to be done. Josie says we could live on a space station or spaceship. I'm much more inclined. Yeah, I'm personally, when I think, Elon's big on colonizing Mars. I've always been, maybe he's got the scientists and engineers to tell him that's much more reasonable. But my always thought was about colonizing interplanetary space with rotating space colonies or something. And I believe that's what, what's his face talked about a little bit, Jeff Bezos. But yeah. Spencer says he knows Aiden Paladin made a video on birth control, I think 2 years ago, and it was interesting. Yes, Aiden Paladin, she's real big on science, and she breaks down scientific papers and all sorts of things. You're definitely going to want to watch her video about hormonal birth control, because she did, I think, a great video on that. Zerver says he's got to go. Okay, thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. I'll be closing the stream here in a minute. Wrench says, so Wrench is saying the Earth is in trouble, right? You got sort of maybe climate change. Every fish has plastic in it. The ocean's full of plastic. The great coral reefs are dying. Well, so here's the thing. That challenge you're talking about is still way smaller than Mars, right? Mars doesn't have any oceans at all. Mars doesn't have, if you want to talk about like the sort of atmosphere of Earth and how bad it could get, well, it would take millennia. It would take, well, much more than that. It would take millions of years for the Earth to ever be as hard to live in as Mars is now. You know what I'm saying? Like Mars is like ridiculously hard to live on now. You can't breathe there. So like the Earth would have to get many times worse than it is now, and it would still probably be easier to just stay here and fix this than to go to Mars. So like, I think we have to leave because of ecological disaster on Earth idea, I don't think that takes us anywhere really. I think there's other reasons to still leave Earth, or I don't say leave Earth, but expand off of Earth. Slot says, if you can't make a space station sustainable, you can't make a barren planet the same. Yeah. Josie says Embargo should be a sci-fi writer. Well, I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting. Base Gandalf says, if what is happening, if that is what is happening due to our actions, imagine how fast we would destroy a controlled environment on Mars. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I just don't find the notion of we got to leave Earth because of ecological reasons convincing, because I think you'd be surprised at how terrible it would really have to get here before it was ever harder to deal with Earth's ecological problems than like the fact that Mars, you can't breathe the atmosphere. Well, I mean, here's the thing, Wrench. So Wrench is saying, if we're on a trajectory where our planet can't be saved, then we would need to leave. Well, I'm not sure that there is really such a thing. Like there's certainly, like, we could be on a trajectory where like it'll never be as good as it was. I mean, what trajectory is Mars on? Mars hasn't been breathable. Mars isn't gonna be breathable. Mars, like, if you put an atmosphere on Mars, its lower mass would likely hold on to the atmosphere for less time, right? You're going to lose atmosphere due to solar winds. I mean, Earth is almost probably always going to be the most habitable planet in the solar system forever. Even if you imagine an Earth that's like getting extremely difficult to breathe on, where like we need to use significant filtration systems, it's still going to be easier to do that here than anywhere else. You know what I mean? Laffy Blitz says, we could nuke the Earth many times over and it would still be far more habitable than any other planet or moon in our solar system. I think that's basically true. I think that's basically true. That we could do a lot of things here that are bad, and it would still be easier to make it work here than anywhere else. And yeah, okay. And Base Gandalf, he makes the good point. If it's really that bad, where we're just going to destroy everything here, we're just going to bring it all down, well, then we're probably going to bring those problems with us, right? You know, obviously the behavior's got, if there's behavioral problems, then those got to be fixed. Okay. Josie says, a white community living on board a space station or ship, that would make a good sci-fi story. I think so. I just don't know if I'm the one to write it. I mean, I've never written anything. I probably wouldn't be good at it. Okay. Well, my stuff's still frozen. I'm going to have to do a complete computer restart and everything here. But I'm just going to end the stream for now. Remember, tomorrow, Patriotic Alternative is going to do their Warzone tournament. I believe Krogan will be playing, and he'll probably be streaming it on Odyssey. And then tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, American Krogan does his Sunday night nonsense, where we kind of cover the latest happenings of the last little while, especially the last week. Okay, other than that, I hope you have a good weekend. You guys who are chatting together about all the sci-fi stuff, you can continue chatting. But I got to cut it. I got to call this for now. And peace out.